Why women are not attracted to alpha guys. So you hear a lot about this like alpha versus beta thing. So I don't know if you've seen it, but on my channel, I rarely talk about this. And there's a very good reason why I rarely talk about this, because I don't think it actually helps men get better with women to characterize people as alpha and beta. It is better to say that some people are more successful than others and some people are much less successful than others. It is beneficial to be more assertive. It is beneficial to lead. I talk about that shit all the time on this channel. So I'm going to talk about why being alpha doesn't actually make you more attractive. And I'm going to talk about what actually makes you more attractive to women, which is kind of like the nonchalant, non-reactive guy. So let's talk about what alpha means. Alpha is a guy, so let's say you have a group of people, somebody's considered the alpha if they're the most powerful. Now, if you talk about primates or if you talk about, like a group of lions, the alphas of the group are going to be able to mate with the vast majority of the females, and the other guys, betas, are not going to be able to. Now, the way that they do this is they're usually the biggest and baddest creatures out there, meaning if a physical confrontation erupts, and they frequently do, the alpha will win and he gets access to the women. So the reason why he gets access to women is because he is the strongest and he has beaten all of the other males so that they will not try and mate with the females that are his. Now, in our society, who do we think are the most alpha guys? Now, I might get this wrong. You might have a different definition of what alpha means to me, but I usually interpret guys who are acting kind of like Andrew Tate. Now, I'm not saying that Andrew Tate is not an attractive guy to women. I mean, the dude's got money, the dude's got muscles, and then on top of that, he's a pretty masculine guy. So there's going to be a lot of women that go for him. But what I'm saying that is not attractive about him is the overly alpha nature that he can come across in some videos. So a lot of women that I know have watched Andrew Tate, and most of them agree that yes, he could come across as a very attractive guy if it wasn't for the shtick that he's on. And the reason why alpha guys don't come across as attractive in that case is because they are trying too hard. If you're trying to be the alpha, if you're asserting your dominance, does that look as good as if you just hang back and naturally get it? Probably not. In fact, trying too hard will get other people to think that you're not that guy and that you're trying to compensate for something. Because people who have to act that way, there's clearly something going on. So if it looks like you're trying too hard to be alpha, then that is an extremely unattractive position to be in. You rarely hear guys who are actually, at the heads of society, you rarely hear them talk about being alpha. Why? Because they don't have to worry about it. For example, one of the richest guys I ever met was one of the nicest dudes I had ever met. Now, granted, this was only a short encounter. I don't know how he is behind closed doors, but one thing was for certain. When we were in a group of people, he did not feel the need to talk louder. He did not feel the need to push other people down. In fact, he was one of the nicer people there. He would bring people up. He'd be like, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it. Or, no, you got this, dude. Like, he was super, super kind. And one of the things that I noticed about him was that he was not trying. Now, there was another guy in the group who was trying very, very hard to assert himself. And if you had been a fly on the wall, you probably would have said, oh, that guy is, I guess, the alpha by the definition. But none of the women were interested in him. And keep in mind, a lot of these women didn't know how rich each person was. But the guy who had obviously the most value and the most wealth was trying the least. And that's really what women observe and they see. A guy who is non-reactive, nonchalant, who is relaxed, that's true confidence right there. Now, this is not to say that women don't want to see your passionate side. It should absolutely come out. But if it comes from a place of insecurity, if it comes from a place of fear, if it comes from a place where you're trying to put other people down to raise yourself up, women can spot that shit from a mile away. And a lot of times, it doesn't make them into you. I've been the guy who has tried to be alpha, and I was that for like 2 weeks, and it didn't work. And I've been the guy who's nonchalant. And I'm still kind of that guy today. It doesn't mean that I don't care. It doesn't mean that I'm not passionate. It doesn't mean that I say nothing and I just sit there and I'm silent. No, I talk a lot. But what I do is I'm relaxed and I'm non-reactive. You hear a lot of these alpha coaches online. You should never tolerate any disrespect. And if she does X, Y, Z, you got to do this. They're obsessed with disrespect because they get disrespected all the time and they start seeing everything as disrespect. I don't worry about disrespect that much because all I do is I ask myself, did I like that or did I not like that? And if I didn't like it, then I fucking walk away. But most guys can't do that. So they have to overcompensate. And so if you find yourself getting into positions where you're reacting heavily to women, where you're trying to assert yourself in groups and you're constantly worried about whether you're the alpha or not in them, then what my recommendation to you is to start focusing on other things because you have to earn being the leader of the group. You have to provide value. Focus. How could I provide value in this case? What could I do? Could I organize the event? Could I know more about what was happening? Could I bring drinks? Could I bring girls? Could I do something to put myself in a better standing? And that is truly how to be an alpha that a lot of people talk about. It's not about pushing other people down. It's about creating value. You need to create value in order to be that person. The problem is with a lot of these coaches online who talk about alpha versus beta all the time is they don't actually talk about creating value. They just talk about disrespect. They talk about not putting up with this. They talk about, how to one-up people. And the problem with that is that it's not actually super attractive. What is super attractive is when people come to you naturally, when they react to you positively. Not the way you react, but the way other people react around you. If you feel the need to assert yourself in situations all the time, then that probably means you're putting yourself in a position that is not very good. So the way to improve your position is exactly what I said. Increase the value that you're giving to the group. Become a guy who is not affected by things super easily. If you find yourself reacting to comments people make, if you find yourself getting all flustered when somebody says something, then you're showing a lot of weakness. You're showing a lot of insecurity. Now, if you're watching this video and you're wondering, hey, Lloyd, how do I become that guy who is non-reactive, nonchalant, who women are going crazy over? So this is something that I help guys craft, and it's different for each person. You have to figure out how to create value in your life, something that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, and something you're going to be able to do consistently, because a lot of times guys try to be like other guys, and that's just not them. You need something that is personally crafted for you and whatever your situation is. So if you want to book a free meeting with me or a member of my team, we can kind of tell you what is going to be the best route forward for you. And if we can help you, we'd love to have you join the coaching program. But like I said, we can't help everybody, so we'd love to chat with you and see if that works for you. So fill out the form down below, book a meeting, and we'll talk. Good luck out there, you guys.